Lawmakers Day around here, huh? State Senator Joe Pittman with us, brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Representative Struzzi was just here, and now we get a conversation with you. Good morning.
Good morning, Todd.
Good to have you with us here today.
It's good to be here. I'm sorry this has to be your politician morning.
Well, I prefer to look at it as legislator morning rather than politician
Good.
morning.
I prefer that term, too.
There you go. There you go. All right. So one of the things we talked with Representative Struzzi about was the fact that Trees for Troops is coming up this weekend. Yeah. I know that's close to your heart.
It is. I think it's close to all of our hearts, and I know that you've personally supported it over the years, and I'm sure Jim has talked a lot about the details, but I think in this Christmas season it bears repeating and emphasizing what this is all about. This is actually a national program that, as I understand it, began back in 2005. The local committee here started the Trees for Troops at the Fleming Tree Farm in 2013. And this is something Jim and I have both, in some respects, inherited, but we've also worked on in our previous roles as well. Representative Reed and Senator White were very big proponents of this initiative whenever it first started. They worked collaboratively with the Chamber and with the Tourist Bureau and with the Kevin Laser as well to make this what it is. And in a nutshell, it's an opportunity for families to give our women and men in service and their families a tree during the Christmas season. Yeah. And that will be this Saturday.
And it's at the Matrisic Family Farm.
Yes, the Matrisic Family Farm, which is the former Fleming farm. They're the change in ownership. But I tell you, JD and his family have been extremely supportive of this program for a lot of years. They're helping with the transition this year, and the Matrisics have been kind enough to help continue it. So it's this Saturday from 9 to 5.
Yeah. All right. So that is something that we want to make sure that people know about and support. Speaking of support and affinity for military veterans, and in the case of an announcement yesterday from your office, the renaming of bridges after some of our great heroes from Indiana County.
Yeah. Another initiative that we started years ago, particularly the Climber American Legion, a gentleman by the name of Dan Rice, has really spearheaded the effort to have communities name bridges or segments of roads, primarily after our fallen military heroes. The collection of bridges that we had just done, and again, Jim and I jointly sponsored what ultimately became this bill, but also the Hilliard naming on 119, which is actually after an astronaut, Homer City native. And so this one is a little special and unique in a different way, but they all tie into community service, those who've done significant work for our community. And the theme has usually been our men and women in uniform and those who particularly have sacrificed. Yeah. So we were glad to get those collection of bills, and those took a while. Several of them were actually sponsored by Senator White just before he had left office, and we were able to collect them all into one bill and get it through the process.
It's interesting, the scope of it, because there's World War II, Vietnam, the Persian Gulf War, they're all represented there. And Patricia Hilliard Robertson from Manassas is yet another one. And so there are different eras represented, and it really brings up the idea that selfless sacrifice knows no generation.
Boy, is that right. And, you know, when we had the wall here, the traveling wall, I think that further underscored that too. And what our community has sacrificed locally. I mean, we had, I believe, 47 individuals on the traveling wall from Vietnam.
It's amazing.
So, it really is.
Spirit of this county.
Yes.
All right, so I want to talk about some things this morning, and some of them are items that we just talked about with Representative Struzzi. Get your take on them as well, and of course, he and you both sponsoring the bills that have to do with protecting our power plant jobs. Big announcement about that, and we've talked about it before. The idea that bypassing one branch of our government in order to further an agenda just isn't a good idea. It doesn't matter who's in the governor's chair. We don't want it happening from either party.
We don't, and we also need to look at what New Jersey has done when it comes to this Reggie consortium specifically. They were in it. Governor Christie came in. He removed them. his replacement has now put them back into it. And it's been commonly referred to as the windshield wiper effect. And that's because New Jersey did it the way Governor Wolf is trying to do it. And I don't think it does any of us any good to have inconsistent public policy, particularly whenever it comes to our utilities and our electric generation. And so I think that's one facet of it. And then the other facet that's most important to me is the effort to try to protect and sustain as many of these jobs as possible. And I have said it before, and I recognize the marketplace has shifted when it comes to the production of energy. And natural gas has grown exponentially in the marketplace. And so the value of coal remains, for sure. It's not what it was. But I'm not looking to have the government artificially put sources of energy out of business. I'm just not going to tolerate it.
One of the offshoots of a policy whereby you can bypass the legislature and put in whatever your own agenda is, we talked before about California emissions. Well, here's a practical application of that. I do have a car that has some mechanical difficulties, some particular pieces, and it's a relatively new car that are going bad. And I said, well, why is that? Why do I have to get this one replaced? And now I just had another one replaced. And he said, it's California emissions. They require extra mechanicals within their components, and they can fail. And so that's just adding another layer of stuff on top that adds to the expense. The price of the car, it becomes more costly, and then repairing it becomes costlier still.
Well, and we've seen the same with the Uniform Construction Code standards. Mm-hmm. Those are international standards. And I remember one time several years ago, they added the need for anchor bolts to be included in construction, anchor bolting the foundation of the home. Well, that's designed for hurricane states. That's not something we necessarily need to do, so we had to actually pass a law to repeal that requirement. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so you get into this multi-state cooperative programs, and they can get a little dicey.
Yeah. All right. So we look forward. We're here at the beginning of December. What do you have on the schedule for the next couple of weeks before we get into budget season next month?
Well, we do go back to have a confirmation vote on a number of judges. There are a number of common pleas judges across the state that need to be confirmed that the governor nominated, as well as a Commonwealth Court vacancy that will be considered as well. So that will occur. A lot of our focus right now is really on our Christmas activities and getting ready for the upcoming calendar year. Mm-hmm. This will be my first new year as your state senator, and so I'm recalibrating myself and my family, candidly, to what the year will bring and getting through that entire process. So
a lot of what you will do, obviously, will have to do with what people are telling you, our needs. And we talked with Representative Struzzi. I'm meeting this group today. I met that group yesterday. Right. This entity was talking about Citizens Ambulance and their needs. And, those meetings are really important on this local level because they help you not only know what people are thinking and what people's needs are, but also then to craft a solution if a solution is called for.
That's exactly right. And I'll be heading down to Murraysville this afternoon and meeting with a series of constituents there. And, that's one of the things that I continue to gain a greater appreciation for is the diversity of the district that I represent and how big it is. I just concluded a series of town hall meetings in Butler County. And I had them in 3 parts of Butler County. And you start at the southern part of Butler, and it's highly developed, and it's close to Pittsburgh, and the interests are more related to Allegheny County. You end in northern Butler County, and it's a much more rural agrarian community. So it's even very interesting to see the differences of interest, within a particular county.
When you get to the spring of the year and into 2020, I'm sure you'll be scheduling meetings in other parts of the county, of the district.
Yes.
Does that include Indiana County?
Yes. I'm probably going to have one in Indiana County, one in Westmoreland, and one in Armstrong. Yes. So I'm probably going to expand it out a little bit as the year goes. My hope is to have 6 of them a year, 3 in the spring and 3 in the fall. And I learned that, again, from Senator White. Having town hall meetings in the middle of winter are usually not productive because of what we're looking at outside right now and the unpredictability of that. And also in the summertime, people are busy. They want to be outside. So I found the spring-fall process to be the best for a town hall.
Back in Harrisburg, come the month of January, what do you think will be the top agenda items?
We'll be getting into the budget. In fact, we just got our November revenues. We were basically at estimate for the month of November. We're about $170 million ahead of estimate for the year to date. So our revenues are coming in at a steady pace. There's modest growth to them. It demonstrates that at least statewide our economy is doing okay. And if that continues, that'll make the upcoming budget discussion a much easier one. Obviously, as we've said before, we have to balance the budget in Harrisburg. We can't print money like our friends in D.C. can. So anytime our revenues are up, that helps. And as a member of the Appropriations Committee, I'll be spending some additional time down there with the budget hearings, which will be another first for me. And so that process will begin in earnest. I think the governor will announce his budget proposal February 4th, if I remember.
All right. And long term in 2020, what are some of the things you want to see addressed?
Well, I have a lot of projects throughout the district that I am very eager to work on and work with. I'm very excited to see the Indiana County Conservation District building on the verge of a groundbreaking. I'm very eager to see the Westmoreland Community College building break ground in the spring of 2020, which I believe will be the case. We've had discussions about broadband, and I'm looking forward to sitting down with the new Board of Commissioners to further the conversations we've had. I think we've all seen where we've at least made the specific issue of the service at Blue Spruce Park we found a solution to it, which I believe will be up and running here hopefully by the end of the year, if not soon after. I want to try to take that model and expand it throughout the county because broadband access and cellular access are consistent themes that I hear about. And I want to try to take a bite of the apple of that in 2020 as well.
Well, we're going to be talking with Chad Carrick from REA in the next half hour about that very topic.
Good.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
All right, Todd, thank you. And remember, this Saturday, Matrissic Tree Farm, 9 to 5, $30. And I've heard a rumor that Santa Claus may be coming to town, too. So,
oh, yeah?
Yeah.
There you go. Trees for Troops is happening this weekend. Thank you, Senator.
All right. Thank you, Todd.
The voice of Indiana County, WCCS AM 1160 and 101.1 FM.